What's up, Internet World? With the News 19 Nerds, I'm Leroy.
I'm Michael. Man, this
You ready?
show, I am. It's just
You seem like you got a lot.
I don't even know how to feel. Right there, this show in particular, this episode has some highs. I also think it had some lows. I wasn't like completely like, man, everything in this episode hit.
Okay, I was about to say lows as in it hurt you, or lows as it wasn't well written.
I mean, some of it did hit, like it did, like, oh man, you brought that back to reality. Ugh, gosh, how dare you bring in reality stuff? But and my escapist fantasy stuff. But yeah, I mean, the highs were definitely high. The lows were a little low, but not as intense as the highs were for me. I mean, overall, the show continues to do great things in my eyes, and it's. We've talked about it before that this was originally going to be the first thing in the TVU version of the MCU. I think I am glad that WandaVision came out first.
Why?
Because because it had more mystical and like magic elements and stuff that definitely felt more comic booky and superhero and really tied into whatever. This definitely has comic book elements, but it had so many real world elements at the same time. I feel like people would be like, I don't think I like the MCU TV stuff because it's not going to be as bombastic as the movies might be. And I feel like it's kind of a nice little digestif to go from WandaVision to this. So
okay.
I'm happy the way it's gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it might have worked. The whole idea was that this and Black Widow were supposed to be close together.
Right.
Because there's overlay, because you have the Super Soldier program that Bucky was a part of, being a Winter Soldier, and the Red Room with Natasha and Black Widow, and there was supposed to be some type of overlay between characters, or at least ideas. Mm-hmm. I'm happy that they started with WandaVision first, only because that was the one I was the most unsure about.
Okay. So
I was like, let's get this one out the way. Let's see, because if there was going to be a bomb, to me, it would have been that one. And it was, I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5.
The
WandaVision.
Okay.
I'd give that. It's not a perfect 5, but it is very close. And I think part of the reason why it's not a 5 for me is because towards the end, we know that they weren't able to use a lot of people. Darcy did not get as much as she should have.
Yeah.
Jimmy Woo. I think some of that characterization kind of fell off only because COVID didn't allow them to shoot. So that's why, for me, it didn't get a 5.
Okay.
This is, I can say this as a comic fan and as a black man, this is a show I never thought in my lifetime I would see. These are subjects, the way, it doesn't go all the way. Mm-hmm. Your boy didn't go they didn't let him go Ryan Coogler, but he went right up to
I mean, and I don't want to like give them a pass or whatever, but this is pretty strong for Disney, for what the company Disney is. This episode went pretty strong.
I don't even think it's pretty strong for Disney, because I think Disney is willing to push an envelope. Mm-hmm. I think it's pretty strong that you did this. You allowed this to happen in a Captain America show. Like, because if you think about each one of these shows or each one of these movies as its own independent franchises, which they kind of are, their own little world. Captain America and like the ground heroes, Winter Soldier, Falcon, Black Widow. These are your people who operate within the real world. And then you have your space people. And then you have, your magic people. And then each of them have their own little... I never expected to see this type of show handle these type of subjects and subject matter. Mm-hmm. And handle it pretty well. I was very taken aback. Mm-hmm. And knocked back that I saw these things, these images and issues represented.
Sure.
So out of this episode, I give it a straight 5 out of 5 shields.
Okay.
This to me is where I never thought it would go. I'd hoped it had went, mm-hmm. and it went there, and I was like, okay, I'm like, this sold that this made everything else worth it. And I will say this too. We talked about this when it came to shows like The Watchmen, The Outsider, Lovecraft Country. We bring those up only because they're the most recent, but this idea of each episode, what is it building to? What questions will be answered? Mm-hmm. And this felt like the Madam, what was her name? Madam, the Asian woman who was basically trying to spoiler alert, who was trying to capture.
In Watchmen?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Lady True. Lady True. The actual real villain of the show.
Yeah.
In my opinion. One of the main villains. But basically, you didn't get that episode till later on, and that's when you realized, oh,
yeah,
you're effing crazy. So,
for me, I'd probably give this a 4 out of 5, and we will get to spoilers, but I guess not spoilers. For me, the pacing of this episode was off, and that kind of messed me up in terms of what I was expecting when I was expecting it. And I guess I have to get out of it. It's kind of hard because the highs of this were so good, and they reminded me of a Marvel movie. Maybe I can't think of the pacing is going to be the same because it's a TV show compared to a movie. But yeah, I give this a 4 out of 5. I'm gonna give it 4 U.S. agent going crazies out of 5.
I give this a 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
So let's get into
the spoilers. Where you want to start? Now you're doing WandaVision? I thought we were doing.
I always do WandaVision.
For all
spoilers.
of them.
Spoilers. I always do WandaVision.
Got it.
Now the pantomime for the actual show is Winter Falcon.
Okay, got it.
Actually, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, that's true. That man got his wings clipped.
Oh.
Now this wasn't the first time we've seen his wings get ripped because didn't they? Bucky rip him off in Winter Soldier. Yeah, but it wasn't as violent as it was here.
Nope.
John Walker just had this look in his eyes and just first great fight overall between Bucky and Falcon teaming up against
Winter Falcon going
up against the Captain America.
Winter Falcon powers unite.
Yeah, it was just great choreography all around. It looked incredible. The special effects really looked good. I mean, it looked like it was a movie fight, not just a TV low budget fight for me.
That fight was awesome.
Yeah.
But it also showed you what a real I said this before when you were talking about super soldiers, and I thought they were indestructible, and it's like they could just take more damage. But you got to see when two of them go at it, and one of them was missing an arm.
Yeah.
And you saw, and this is what I was saying about John Walker. He is not a bad soldier.
No.
He is an excellent soldier. He is a complementary fighting machine. He is not a good Captain America.
Yeah.
And that's the difference what people need to understand. Just because you're a good soldier, just because you can complete the mission, doesn't make you a good person. Yeah. Which we found out locally. With a local story here in Columbia, South Carolina, with a person who probably has very high marks in the military as far as being a good soldier. But outside of that setting, in a situation that escalated for no reason, you prove to be not a decent human being. And that's what John Walker is. John Walker is a man who cannot handle the weight of being Captain America.
Yeah.
And you got to see it.
I like the idea that, and I said earlier that John Walker was a bad guy, and you corrected me. He's not a bad guy because he's fighting for his country. He definitely believes.
He's a believer.
He is a believer in the red, white, and blue and following the orders that are given to him by his government. And later in the episode, when he's at that, I guess, is that a tribunal? Is that a tribunal or some hearing or whatever it is? And these senators, these senators are grilling him, and he's like, "You guys abandoned me because I was doing what, in his eyes, he was doing what he thought he was supposed to for the government." And that just shows you just how much he believed in what he was doing. And it was kind of sad because I felt for him a little bit. I was like, he thought what he was doing was right. He went about it the wrong way, for sure. But he thought that he was trying to fight for America or do whatever. And once he lost his boy Lamar, it kind of, that was that last little snap for him to just be
token
like,
Negro number one.
I got to go after everybody.
I looked at it a little differently. I looked at his fall from grace as I knew it was coming. I knew he was going to mess up royally on the national stage because he's not ready for it. in this job, we talk about people who, some of our coworkers, and me included, I can actually say from personal experience, there are people who rise to the challenge given adversity. And let's say people on camera. We've had people, reporters here, anchors here. Some of them thrive under the pressure, under the bright lights. They come alive. They just, something about them, they just flourish.
Sure.
And other people wilt. We know for a fact, I am not an on-camera person when it comes to reading a prompt or doing look lives. How many times when we were at SC Comic Con?
I can't wait till we're back in a normal situation. We go back to conventions.
Son.
Like, Leroy, you ready for take 38? Let's go. Let's try it again.
Son, I was Doug from Up. Something caught my eye, I would be talking, squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I can speak from personal experience. There are certain people in certain situations, they thrive. They come alive. I remember Darcy Strickland, friend of the show, speaking to a reporter, giving him guidance about how to be live, how to talk. And she basically gave him an education about doing a live shot in the break room. She basically did a live shot, impromptu, in the break room for a minute. And I was like, and then she was like, you couldn't go live from outside and the building was on fire. And I was like, one, that hurt. And it wasn't me she was talking to. Just please believe. I can go live from outside of the building's on fire.
Can you?
Sir?
Can you?
Sir, do I need to bring back Texas?
You did pretty good in Texas.
Boom! That's all I'm going to say.
You did pretty good in Texas.
Up against another reporter?
Calm down. We're not doing that.
That's all I'm saying.
We're not doing that.
All I'm saying is, Kobe!
We're talking about Winter Falcon.
Anyway, all of that tangent is to say, John Walker was not ready for the bright lights.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong, he was ready for the press conferences. You can do all that stuff. What happens when you are put in a situation where you have to be reserved? You can't lash out. He couldn't do it.
Before this, shout out to Wyatt Russell, by the way. We've talked about him in earlier episode reviews, but I really like Wyatt Russell and the character he's portraying. I think he's doing a great job of me not liking him. I think he's doing a great job as an actor.
You guys do realize he's playing a character, right?
Don't come after Wyatt Russell, man.
Like, one, he's not on social media, so you're wasting your time. Two, these people are characters. He's not real.
Yeah.
I just want to put that out there. There is not a real Captain America and someone else usurped his, like, calm. Let's take it down a level. Now,
you say this, but you always claim Godzilla and King Kong are real.
Whoa! Prove me wrong. King Kong, you a punk.
Okay, great.
And I will say that in your face. See me.
Okay.
Team Godzilla. Gang gang.
Wyatt Russell, I think he's doing a great job. And I'm hoping this is like his kind of, he's been in other stuff before. I remember him.
Overlord.
He was good in Overlord. He was also one of the newer Planet of the Apes movies, right?
If you say so.
Oh, you didn't see him?
I do, but I don't remember.
I feel like he was in one of them as maybe the
only thing I remember is Caesar. Humans, bad.
I'm hoping this opens the world sees more from like, oh, he needs to be in more stuff because I think he's great.
Humans, bad.
So yeah, we talked about the downfall of the new Captain America. Who else are we trying to highlight?
Are we going in order? Or we just highlight.
We're just going everywhere, man.
Because if we're going in order, that scene was amazing because he lost it, and they weren't trying to hear it. And the thing is, which I don't think this is the thing I don't think he understands. He believes he didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
And the problem is, you aren't Captain America. It's hard to explain, but you are Captain America, but you aren't Captain America. To me, it's a question of, can there be another Captain America, or there are different iterations, kind of like Spider-Man. Are you Spider-Man or are you Spider-Man? But the thing that I think John Walker missed was, you made a mistake and you didn't own up to it.
Right.
And that's the thing, the difference between him and Steve Rogers. John Walker is a good soldier. He's not a good Captain America. And he still didn't understand what he did was wrong, because he looked at it as, I pursued the person or the parties that killed one of our own.
Yeah.
You're looking at this because of the optics is bad. And he's looking at it as, in a battle, in a fight, You kill the people who attack you. These people attack me, I killed them. Now comes the question is Captain America a soldier or is Captain America a cop? Because those are two totally different things. And if you want to understand what the difference is, go watch Battlestar Galactica and listen to General Adama talk about the difference between having the military be your police. And the fact and the reason why those two things are separate. That's the best explanation I can give you. From there, you saw him fall. And then you saw your girl show up. And I want to give her full name.
Go ahead.
This is where I geeked out. Because when she showed up, see, I
geeked out just because I saw her as, that's Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
I saw the stripe.
Who I think is an incredible comedian and actress. So
the stripe let me know who she was.
Oh, okay.
Her real name is Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
Cool. I'm just going to call her Contessa, but go ahead.
She is a wily, very, very popular character. But she's also a badass. She's also known as Mother Hydra.
Okay. Remember? Mother Hydra or Madam Hydra?
Mother, Madam, whatever.
Okay, got it.
Hydra's in the name.
Yeah.
She's also the love interest to one-eyed Nick Fury.
And she was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., right?
She was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and she also is in charge of a little group called Film Force. Okay. And guess who was on that group?
Black Widow?
Nope.
Oh, who?
She's on this show.
Sharon Carter?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh,
so
cool.
it's so she has her hands everywhere.
Yeah.
Her paws. She showed up a la Nick Fury and was like, answer the call.
There's no phone number on here. Okay.
So it was very interesting that.
So when you saw it, you were like, yes.
I was like, I knew who she was.
Okay.
And I was like, now the possibility is endless because. Also, guess where she operates out of?
Where?
Madripoor.
Okay, cool.
So guess who she could be?
Or maybe she's the power broker? Maybe.
Maybe.
So for me, when I saw her, clearly I knew she was somebody because her name was so long. There's no way your name is that long for you not to be a comic book character. Yeah. I was just happy that it was Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and the fact that nobody knew. I mean, they kept a good job on. Malcolm Spellman, the showrunner, had said episode 5 was going to be a big episode. There's going to be a character that could kind of change the game. We didn't know who it was. A lot of people thought it was going to be somebody we'd already seen.
Yeah.
And I guess technically, if the rumor is true and this character is in Black Widow, then it would have been somebody we had seen. But she was introduced here, and it was a little awkward. And we don't know yet. We had to see Black Widow to see. Oh, if we had seen her, then it would have made more sense when we saw her again. But it threw me for a second just because. Why is Elaine from Seinfeld in here? I don't know. Whatever. But once I got past that, I was like, do your thing, girl, because she felt right. She fell right into the universe for me.
When I saw her, I was like, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and then I saw the streak, and that's everybody who draws the gray streak, and when I saw that, I was like, that's Contessa.
Okay.
And I was like, wait a minute, did they? And for those of you, go look her up. There's a couple of videos out right now. I think Comics Explained, Variant Comics probably has one up about explaining who Contessa is and what she is. She has a very storied history. Kevin Feige has talked about the fact of, or the obstacles that were in his place when there were other leadership involved at Marvel. Okay. And with getting female characters, we now know why we did not get a Black Widow movie or Captain Marvel was so long. Ike Perlmutter, I don't know. Whatever. He's the reason why we switched black people out.
Yeah.
He's the reason why Rebecca Hall's character was changed in Iron Man 3, and that was a little wonky. Female characters in Marvel are long and storied. This is one of them. And to me, this is a good representation of the fact that Julia Louis-Dreyfus is the character lets you know that there's weight to it. Because she's not showing up for just a table read and just a one-off.
Right.
You're not going to use the woman who basically created Veep and was one of HBO's best shows. When you see Julia Louis-Dreyfus, like you said, you were like, that's Elaine.
Yeah.
She is so recognizable that you're not going to waste that. Kind of like I told you, Ming-Na was not going to be wasted as finished.
I definitely thought she's not coming back.
I was like, you don't waste a woman like that and get shot in the chest and she's out.
You're right.
You use that lady.
All right, so let me throw a rumor at you. You've said, this is hot takes, not even hot takes, just rumors that maybe we are seeing the start or the formation of the Thunderbolts. I've seen now they're saying instead of Thunderbolt Ross being in charge, maybe Contessa's going to be in charge.
It's a possibility.
Okay.
It could be a possibility that she is forming the Thunderbolts. There's rumors that, we know there's a confirmation she's in Black Widow. It could be that at the end of Black Widow, we see her reach out to Yelena Belova, who then becomes Black Widow. Hey, call me. We don't know. It could be the antithesis of the Avengers on one side that Marvel is secretly building. I don't know, but the fact of the matter is, showing her to me proved that there is something going on that they're building through all of these shows and subsequently the movies, because we know we still have Secret War coming out. We know we have Armor Wars coming out, and what's the other one? There's one more.
Ironheart?
Ironheart shows coming out, so I don't know if that could be part of coming out of Armor Wars. So, or which one leads into the other. So we know that she's going to be around.
Yeah.
We know that she's, in the comics, she's the love interest of Nick Fury. So will we see Samuel L. Jackson show up eventually? There's so many different things and threads we don't know. So I will say that. After that, we got to see the conversation we have all been wanting between Sam Wilson and Isaiah Bradley. The floor is yours.
I mean, it was just a deep conversation because Sam is compared to Isaiah Bradley, he's definitely an idealist, or he still has. The world has nowhere near beat him down the way it did Isaiah Bradley.
I wouldn't even say compared to. He is an idealist.
Yeah.
You work alongside with Captain
because
America.
his original goal, at least how I read it, was I thought he was going to give the shield to Isaiah. I read like when it first started, I thought he was giving the shield to Isaiah.
He probably was.
And Isaiah's like, nah, bro, I don't need nope. I like the idea.
Out of my house.
Right. I like the idea that Isaiah is technically dead. Nobody knows he's still alive. I think that's a cool idea because people would be trying to experiment on this guy.
I don't think they'd be trying to experiment. I think the United States government would try to kill him.
Really?
Because he said so. If he's like, if my story gets out, they're going to try to kill me because I'm a representation of what they don't want you to know.
This is the bad stuff for them.
This is a dark moment in our nation's time. No, they don't want this to get out because then you have to admit your super soldier program wasn't as lustrous and as well thought out as you made it out to be. Because let's be honest, Captain America originally in First Avenger was a prop. It was a piece of propaganda.
Yeah.
It wasn't until he actually saved the Howling Commandos after they told him not to.
Right.
That they was like, oh, we can kind of use him.
Yeah. The conversation, just actor to actor, Anthony Mackie and Carl Lumbly, they killed it. It was shot well. It was so good.
Carl Lumbly killed it. I was like, man, I don't get me wrong. Sam Wilson did a good job. But Carl Lumbly carried him like a shield and a sack of potatoes. Like Carl Lumbly was.
Yeah, but to me, I felt like that was the point of the scene. It was supposed to be Isaiah's scene, right? And Anthony Mackie was a supporting actor in that scene to him to be like, let him expound on what this hurt.
True, I guess I was expecting more Will and Uncle Phil. Why you don't want me no more, man? I wanted a little bit more of that.
Okay.
Because that scene, woo!
Yeah.
Still gets you.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted that back and forth a little bit. But Carl Lumbly was just, I was a little hurt after, I was emotionally involved after that scene.
For sure. And I don't remember everything that was said. I mean, it's just the weight of, America isn't ready for a black Captain America. And I think in Isaiah's mind, he may be like, America doesn't deserve a black Captain America. It's not even a question of course he's qualified to do it. Like they haven't shown him the proper respect to allow him to want to be Captain America. I don't think.
I think. See, I looked at it differently.
Okay.
I'm trying to get back to this computer screen because of course it doesn't want to work when I want it to work. Oh, there we go. Hey, technology works. So I looked at it differently. Two things that stood out to me is, one, Isaiah Bradley literally retold the same origin story of Captain America in First Avenger. He did the same thing.
Yeah. It
But
did not end up the same way.
Did not end up the same way. And the one thing that I thought was very interesting was Isaiah Bradley rescued super soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Captain America, Steve Rogers rescued his fellow soldiers, and then everybody, remembers that slow motion scene where they're all walking out and the Howling Commandos, and you're like, yeah, kick ass America, F yeah. And you're like,
Yeah.
Okay. Isaiah Bradley told that same story. And they were like, yeah, you shouldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of that was they were happy they got caught because that allowed them to erase the knowledge that this is what America created. It was almost like, oh, they got caught. Who? Bomb them. Mm-hmm. And that was the one thing that stood out to me, that they were telling they're basically the same story, but they were not celebrated the same way.
Right.
The second thing that stood out to me throughout this whole conversation you saw between Carl Lumbian's character and Isaiah Bradley and Sam Wilson was you saw two competing ideas in Black America when it comes to Black people, the military, and their relationship with America. I'm a veteran. My father's a veteran. Your dad's a veteran. Mm-hmm. Every person who is a veteran who is signed up for the military has had to have the conversation of, is the military a place for someone of color, considering our history with the country? Isaiah Bradley's like, there's no place for us here because of what the country has done to us.
Right.
Sam Wilson is like, yes, there's been some problems in the past,
right.
but things are better now. But he also looks at it with the lens of, you got to work alongside one of the greatest soldiers of all time. You are going to have a more idealistic idea of what America is. Mm-hmm. Steve Rogers didn't even know about Isaiah Bradley, and Bucky made sure he kept it that way.
Right. Because just based on how Steve Rogers has been presented in MCU, if he had known, I feel confident he would have tried to do something about it. That's just how Chris Evans has made that character in MCU.
Oh yeah. He would have done something. But the other question is, what is our role in this country, and are we allowed to represent it? Mm-hmm. And that was something that Carl Lumbly said. They're not ready for a Black. There will never be one because we don't represent what is America. Mm-hmm. And that was very poignant. I remember having a conversation with a gentleman when I was younger. I just gotten out. It was like my first job out of the military, and I had a discussion where a person told me, and he was Black. He told me that the military is no place for a Black man. And that was something his father had told him. He went to college. I went into the military. We had different upbringings. Mm-hmm. And I remember the anger I had in me for him when he said it, that it took everything I could not to spring onto him. And my rebuttal was, it's very easy for you to say that when you didn't have the courage to serve. And he looked at me, and we looked at each other like the next person who says something effed up is getting punched in the face. Yeah. And I was like, if you feeling froggy,
right,
and we're cool now, like we still know each other,
yeah,
but we ain't friends.
Yeah.
But the thing is, that question has been asked of us to us, and that's why I said I never thought I would actually see that conversation, that an older Black man having with a younger Black man discussing what the role is of Black America and Black Americans when it comes to the military. As a veteran, I was proud and I was hurt. Mm-hmm. As just a fan of comics, I was like, I never thought I'd see this. I brought up Ultimates Captain America Annual 1. Mm-hmm. Is it 1? It might be. I can't remember which one. It's the one written by Jeff Loeb. Okay. And it has Captain America and Falcon on it. And they have a conversation that it was just very interesting. And I recommend the issue. Go look it up, because Falcon and Cap have this great relationship, and it was something that Cap was able to see that he couldn't have seen, he couldn't have known, unless Sam had brought it to his attention.
Yeah.
And it was echoed in the episode later on when Bucky said, I'm sorry for coming at you that way about the shield. I could have never understood what it meant for you to be captain and then turn it down, and why, like, that realization that Bucky had was something Sam had been dealing with, his own personal struggle.
Yeah.
That's why I said that scene for me was just like mind blowing. The fact that he brought the shield, and the man was like, "I don't want that shit."
No, that's what he said.
It's like,
we got to keep this moving because we could keep talking this all day, but we got other stuff we actually got to shoot. What's any other big things stood at you in the episode? I feel like we hit the biggest things. I think.
The fact that the Wakandas fixed the suit and fixed the wings.
So what do you think is in there? Do you think it's a full suit and wings?
Oh yeah.
In my mind, I thought it was just wings. I'm dumb. I don't know.
I think it's a full suit and wings, and I think.
Is it a Captain America suit?
I think it's a Captain America, or I think they're going to paint it a Captain America
Okay.
suit, and I think it's going to be one where you can't rip the wings off.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be made out of vibranium.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And I think Torres, who is Joaquin, who is Falcon's sidekick, is going to fix
the old wings.
it. Get the old wings is going to fix it, and
I like
he's
that.
going to be his sidekick, and then Bucky with Zemo. Wow,
That was a great scene. I feel like they kind of just carted Bucky or Zemo off. It seemed kind of unceremonious, like he was just unceremoniously kind of dumped off.
See, I don't feel that way.
I don't know. It's like, oh, that's it. I mean, I thought it was gonna be more something to get him. It's like, I don't know.
I feel like there's nothing more to do. Like his purpose was served.
Okay.
And in the comics, Zemo is kind of a nut job. I'm going to be honest with you. The more Zemo was on screen, the more I was siding with him. And I was like, this is a good thing they got him off screen, because there'd have been a lot of people running around with purple masks on. Because
Zemo was right.
He made a lot of great points.
Right.
That was amazing. And do you watch the show with subtitles?
Sometimes. It depends on what time of the day I'm watching it.
So I watched this with subtitles. And that's how I realized that Sharon Carter was on the phone talking to Batroc.
Oh, I did see that because I didn't know who she was talking. Is she trying to kill Falcon?
My question is, was she the one who originally hired Batroc in the beginning of the show?
Oh, to do whatever?
And because when Sharon Carter showed up and she's on the phone, if you had subtitles on, it automatically said
Batroc speaking or whatever. Yeah.
And then you were like, because I was watching it, but when I watched the show, subtitles came up and that says Batroc, because you can't hear.
Not really. Yeah.
And I was like, why are you talking to? And then I was like, oh, you're playing both sides. And then it brought me to the question: is she the real power broker, or like, what is your game? Because we know she has something invested. Yeah. So
we've hit everybody. Flag Smashers. What do you think about Flag Smashers? Are they just evil now? Are they done?
I don't think they're evil.
Okay.
Again, one man's freedom fighters, another man's terrorists. I think that they have been emboldened, and I think John Walker pushed them over the edge, because we didn't have to see the video again. We know what happened. We know what he did. He surrendered, and it was an accident that Token number 1 died.
Was it an accident?
I don't think she meant to kill him.
Okay.
Manslaughter. She should have gotten manslaughter.
Okay.
Because he did die. It was her fault. But it was if you looked at it, was it malicious intent? So I looked at it as manslaughter.
Okay.
But once John Walker went full, everybody got to die.
Right.
They looked at, we lost a friend. You tried to sneak attack us. And the GRC, they're going to bomb the GRC. Yeah. They're going to F that council up. Yeah. And
I like this idea of like the Flag Smashers having just kind of, I don't know if they're called technically considered sleeper agents, but just people that are about that cause. And as soon as they see the symbol, you got people talking. It's like, oh, geez, they got people everywhere.
But this is the weirdest thing. And I don't know if Disney has some type of lever. How in the F are they putting these things on when real stuff is going on? Because you can literally look at what they did with the Flag Smashers and say, that happens in real life. That literally happened to our entire country in January the 6th. How those people got together was through social media.
Yeah.
Regardless of how you feel politically, they got together through social media.
Yeah.
That's how the Flag Smashers are operating. And when you heard Torres tell them the VPNs were normally in Eastern European countries, and then they showed up and he's like, that's weird.
There's one here in New York.
Yeah, and he was like, oh, and keep in mind, this show was supposed to come out last year, and now it came out this year, and it's almost like all of these themes that they are talking about in this show have real world consequences, things that we have seen happen in our real lives. To me, this is why this show is just so amazing, because who could have predicted this?
No.
I cannot wait for episode 6. John Walker making his punk ass shield.
I want to wrap up. My final thought is everything you've said, and I've enjoyed all of it. I enjoyed all the little pieces, but something about it, the way it flowed, it didn't. I guess the lows were kind of like once we had that impactful scene between Isaiah and Sam, was like, oh, where are we going next? And then it kind of slows down. And I guess you kind of need that back and forth. But for me, I just kind of wanted to keep ramping up. See, and I feel like that's why I knocked the episode a little bit.
See, that's how I feel about the previous episode.
Okay.
Especially with the conversation between Sam and Carly.
Yeah.
And that's the scene that we got between Isaiah and Carly is kind of more what I wanted, that meteor conversation.
Isaiah and Carly?
I'm sorry, Sam and Isaiah.
Okay.
Carly and Sam had a decent conversation, but
Yeah.
it didn't have that meat to it.
Yeah.
I wanted the meat that you had between Carly and Sam to have that Isaiah and Sam had. And
do you think it was done deliberately so that this stood out even more?
I don't know.
Okay.
Until we get a press release that are like, you allowed to interview the showrunners of Winter Falcon,
Yeah.
I won't have the answer to that question.
Okay.
I'm very impressed. I will say this, if they actually put out physical copies of these shows, whatever merchandise comes out, I would buy a physical copy of this show, just to put money where my mouth is, to show that this show matters, so that they can see, not only did it do well on streaming, people bought the thing.
Right.
I'm that idiot.
Yeah.
Because to me, that showing them that making this show matters, and people will support it. I'm all on board the Sam Wilson Winter Falcon, because the ending of him training to become Captain America.
That was cool. Like, man, it's like I'm watching Rocky again. It's great. That was awesome.
I'm there. I know it's a TV show. I know it's not real. But for me, wanting to see this and finally getting it, because we got it in comic book form. We got it when Captain America got old and he passed the shield down, and we saw it at the end of Endgame. And then you realize, oh, he didn't even get the like, he gave it up, and you're like, what the?
Yeah.
This makes it all worth it. So episode 6, bring it.
Bring it.
Oh.
There we go. Y'all, we got to wrap up, because once this goes up, you will see that we're actually about to do a little live segment here. But you'll know, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Why are you telling them once it goes up?
It's
because they don't know that.
It's the behind the scenes stuff,
Because this is the thing. When this goes up, we'll have already done the live.
Well, time travel, man. I don't know how it works. Find us here on YouTube. Also find us on Twitter.
If you watch Loki, you will.
That's true. On Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, WOTX.com. Like, comment, subscribe. Click the bell. I think that's all the stuff.
What was your favorite part of this episode? I really want to know, because I actually talked to you. A lot of you had conversations and ideas, wondering where this goes. I do not know where it's going next.
Yeah.
I honestly, I thought I knew the beats, and I was like, oh, y'all bombing the GRC? Okay.
I'm hoping this has a similar trajectory of WandaVision, and like there's like a end credits. I wonder what that end credits is going to be of this, and what it.
I wonder if they switched at the end credits for Winter Falcon is going to lead into Black Widow, where it would probably be the other way around.
Yeah. We'll see. We out.